What makes Tesla so special? Well, it's the most successful electric car company in the world. Elon Musk is the poster boy of the EV world, and this company with all its tech has shattered boundaries and shaken established car makers who are struggling to keep up. In fact, every electric car maker worth its batteries wants to be a Tesla. So what is it that Tesla does? Well, it does things very, very differently. And after driving the Model 3, you realize why Tesla is what it is.
The Model 3 isn't your average four-door sedan. There's no grille, not even a mock grille you see on other EVs. It's as if to drive the point home that this car never had an IC engine to begin with. And because there's no engine, the bonnet plunges sharply. The body too is a smooth, organic shape with minimal detailing. The charge port flap, which is part of the rear light cluster, is neatly concealed, and the pop-out handles close flush with the body. But if you look closely, you'll notice wide and inconsistent panel gaps, and the overall build quality feels a step behind a traditional luxury car. The way the Tesla is built, it seems the body is just something to wrap the batteries, software and EV tech with, which is at the heart of every Tesla.
Well, the Tesla experience starts with this key, no fancy key fob, just something that looks like a credit card or more like a hotel room key. And like in a hotel room, you just tap it over here. That's what opens it. Flush handles which open nicely, and I'm in. Well, the cabin of the Model 3, it's different. I mean, I've never been in a car that looks anything like this. For one, it is super minimalist. In fact, you think it's been designed by IKEA. It's a piece of IKEA furniture. Absolutely uncluttered. There's not a single button on the dashboard. There's not even an instrument cluster. The only buttons you get are these two rollers on the steering wheel, and of course this massive screen which we'll come to later. And when you start poking around, you start experiencing the Tesla-ness, which is a lot of quirks, a lot of clever stuff. Like this, I thought this was really a storage box, but it's not. It's just a pad to keep your mobile. Two big wireless charging pads over here. Massive box over here. You know, that's the beauty of having an electric chassis, a chassis for electric cars, because you don't have the engine, the transmission taking up space, and you can really make use of that. Massive box over here as well. Two cup holders, which are okay. They're not adjustable, so smaller things can kind of clunk around. But really, the cabin is so simple. Quality pretty good. It's much better than earlier Teslas. If anyone had driven them, much better than the Model X, which we had reviewed earlier. The grains of plastic are good, good fabric. But again, it's really not quite up to European standards, the kind of fit and finish over here. Still very, very good. But where Tesla blows away all the other luxury car makers, all the Germans, be it BMW, Audi, Mercedes, is with this, the screen. In fact, the whole screen, the experience makes the others look completely outdated. The Model 3 screen is so good. In fact, you want to buy the car just for the screen. Resolution absolutely fantastic. It is super slick, super smooth, very, very quick. In fact, the interface really is like a mobile phone. It's quite intuitive as well. The only thing is almost every function is in the screen. Even something like putting on headlights, that's what you've got to do. You've got your lights over here, on, off, fog lights. Even the mirror adjustment, what you do is, it's quite interesting. You have to adjust it by these scrollers over here. So what you do is, yes, that's the way you can do it. Just scroll, then you can go right and do the right one as well. So yeah, you have to get into menus and sub menus, but again you can just see the logical layout of everything. And of course when you're driving, you've got a lot of you've got of course the energy, which you know what you're doing. This is something EV owners want a lot of, but really lots and lots in here, and some really fun stuff as well.
In fact, you begin to wonder if this is a car or an amusement park on wheels.
And this is really mad entertainment. Beach buggy. I am okay. Yeah, you can play a video game. Obviously not while you're driving, but you know, if you're bored whilst you're charging, because don't forget sometimes you do have to turn up at a charging station which isn't a fast charging station, and in India it's likely to be a slow charger. I don't know what Tesla is doing about their supercharging network, but whilst you're waiting for your car to charge, you can have some fun. Okay, let's do chill. And yeah, just using the Tesla's wheel as a game console wheel. I mean, how cool is that?
You can play solitaire, chess, something called asteroids, and a lot more. It's like being inside a game arcade with the actual steering wheel and pedals doubling up as game controls.
But the real party trick, and literally party trick, is the toy box of the Tesla. I mean, it shows the kind of sense of humor this car has, or likely Elon Musk has. Let's start with this, which is Mars. You know, now it transforms your map to the surface of Mars. Now, why would you want that sitting on Earth? Beats me, but there it is. You've got a sketch pad. You can just sketch on it. Just unbelievable the kind of stuff there is. Back to toy box. You've got Santa in Santa mode. And if you've got your wife or girlfriend, there's even romance mode. So sound of a log fire through the speakers, and you know, you actually even get warm air. I mean, this is just insane. And now this one, emissions, it's not what you think it is. It's absurd. Emissions is what we emit. So I mean, it's the sound of farts. So let's see, there's ludicrous fart. Let's hear that. Oh my God. There's a boring one. And oh, Falcon Heavy. I mean, after a heavy dhansak, I think that's what you would have.
Now, many of you will want to know if this Model 3 comes with autopilot, the semi-autonomous driving aid that Tesla is famous and even infamous for. Well, it's there in the system, but for some reason it couldn't be enabled. So sorry, I can't tell you how it works. Now, before I forget, the Model 3 is supposed to be a car. I better get down to driving it.
Now the Model 3, it comes with two versions. You get the performance version or the long range version. Performance version, that is serious performance, 0 to 100 in about 3.5 seconds. That's supercar slaying performance. But what we've got is the long range version, which is more practical, but it's no slow coach either. It does 0 to 105 odd seconds, which is mighty quick, and being an electric car, it feels even quicker because of that instant torque. Put your foot down and it just goes.
There's no speedo, so you have to glance at the screen to know your speed. And on an empty road, it's always a big number. The Model 3 has two electric motors, one for each axle, and hence is effectively a four-wheel drive. Together they produce a substantial 346 horsepower. One area where the Model 3 just decimates other EVs is with the range. This long-range version has a 79.5 kilowatt-hour battery which delivers 580 kilometers on the test cycle. And on the road, that's a comfortable 400 plus kilometers.
What I really like about the Tesla is the driving position. Visibility outside is absolutely fantastic, and that's because you've got this low cowl in front of you. Again, the advantage of not being tied down by a big powertrain, which kind of restricts or limits your overall packaging and dimensions. So visibility is great. It's a nice nimble car. It's not too big, and it handles pretty well because typically EVs don't handle that great, but the Model 3, pretty sharp steering. It turns in well into corners, and overall it does give you good feedback from the road.
Ride comfort is quite impressive even on these aftermarket low profile tires, and you don't get jolted around. But what gives you the feeling of true luxury is how quiet the Model 3 is, even by EV standards. It's almost noiseless.
But there is one big issue, and that is ground clearance, or rather the lack of it, because even the smallest of speed breakers kiss your underside.
So ground clearance definitely isn't practical. But just how practical is the rear? Let's jump in and find out.
Now in India, the back seat is very important. So what's it like in the Model 3? To be honest, not great. Firstly, under thigh support, it's a bit less. The seat pack is a bit upright, and the floor, it's a bit raised, and you can't help that because that's where the battery sits. In typically EVs, the floor does go up. You do have the benefit of a really flat floor over here, so sitting three up that way is pretty convenient, at least for the legs of the middle passenger. But overall, though, space is quite limited, and I'm short, but I think a tall person would have problem with headroom. But you get a fantastic sense of airiness because of this massive sunroof, or should I say a glass roof, because it extends all the way back to the tailgate, and that really opens things up over here.
There's no sunshade though, and with so much glass, the fear is that Tesla could become a greenhouse on a hot day. It's really gonna test the aircon. The Model 3 does pack in the comfort essentials at the back.
You've got rear aircon vents as well, and two USB charging ports, but they are Type-C. That's the way of the future. You've got a flip down armrest with two cup holders. So overall, fairly comfortable, but this is not the place you want to be spending a lot of time in your Model 3.
The Model 3's boot lid is small, but the boot itself is quite deep and spacious. And if you want more space, there's a useful frunk or front trunk in EV speak. Again, Tesla manages to carve out more boot space than other EVs thanks to the efficient packaging of its Born Electric platform.
Now, Tesla are pretty tight-lipped about their plans for India, so we don't exactly know when the Model 3 is coming and what it will cost. But at best, we can hazard a guess. We think it'll be around 60 lakhs or so. Now, that isn't stupid money for what is not just a game-changing car, but something that will change your perception of what electric cars can be.